Greetings and welcome to the weekly edition of the Safe Crypto Show. I am your host, Tyler Jordan, with co-hosts Mike and Jason. Each episode attempts to cover a range of topics, beginning with a global market cap review and a look at the past week's movers and shakers. Next, a discussion of general crypto news and happenings. Then we consider new and interesting projects and ICOs, all followed by a brief discussion of the weekly tech update by MadeSafe. Let's get started with the show. Safe Crypto Show disclaimer. Please keep in mind at all times that we, the hosts and guests of the Safe Crypto Show, are not offering or giving investment advice. We only state our personal opinions and thoughts on our own interests. By watching, you agree to not hold us responsible for any losses you may incur by executing trades or by maintaining holds based upon the subjects discussed in our episodes. It is Friday, the 23rd of February, 2018. Welcome to the show. Today I'm joined by my co-host Mike. Let's begin. Welcome, Mike, and thanks for joining the show today.
Anytime, man.
So, topic number one, the weekly roundup. What's been happening this week? Let's see, we've got the market cap down below $500 million. I think this week it did go over $500 million. Sorry, $500 billion.
Yeah,
no?
I was going to say, that's
$500
T.
billion. Get the numbers right, Tyler. Bitcoin dominance at 34.8%, so that's up, I believe. Just going to go into the overall market cap.
I show 38.6 on mine.
7 days. Looks
Yeah,
like,
got up above.
Last
got up above
Sunday
500.
was
Yeah.
518 or so. Yeah, 519 even. So it's down really where it's been. I guess it's really down on the whole for the week. It hasn't been a really good week. It's been a pretty sideways week, I guess. Let's have a look at the
stopped dropping, but it's not ready to go back up just yet, it seems.
have a look at the gainers and losers this week. 7 days. Let's see what's of interest there. Tezos pre-launch. Well, that's going to be probably one of the biggest things. Up 73.7% basically for the week. That's pretty huge. And then what's this petrodollar? I'm not sure. Is that Venezuela's one? Might be.
I believe so.
That's up pretty big. That might end up being a big one. I don't know. Well, that'll be interesting to see, being the first government-backed crypto, whether it actually gets into the top 20 or not. It's a good chance, I suppose. Let's see. Digix DAO. Is that a big one or not? I don't know. I think it is. Up 50%. Nano up 37%. That's one that you and I are in, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
It's had a nice rebound this week. I believe it may be moving on to getting on to another exchange here, so that's probably the reason for that. So that seems to be the biggest gainers there. We don't really cover the biggest losers. I mean, it's this is about hodling. We don't care about losing. You just hang on until it goes up. All right. So there's a new little thing I want to introduce today. I'm not going to, I don't know if I'll cover it every week, but it's blocktivity.info is the website. And it's a really great site. It shows the activity of the blockchain of each of some of the top cryptos. So Steam is actually number one. It has by far the most blockchain activity, and yet it also has, in terms of its what is this called? The CUI, Capacity Utilization Index, a ratio of blockchain daily activity to total blockchain capacity. And for Steam, even though it's by far the busiest blockchain, it's still only at 0.14% capacity. So that just shows you how effective their blockchain is at handling massive amounts of activity and transactions. Ethereum, oh my word! So Ethereum is maxed. And it wasn't yesterday. It wasn't yesterday, but it is today. There are 12,904 unconfirmed transactions at the moment. Ethereum is, it's not even half the activity of Steam, but still, I mean, it's a very compared to a lot of well, it's number 2 on the list here. So compared to all of the blockchains except Steam, it's the busiest. But because the technology of Ethereum isn't as good, I guess that's what you got to say. It's just not as good at handling transactions, and it chokes. It really chokes. That's why EOS is coming along, because Dan Larimer is the guy who created BitShares, which is number 3 on the list here, by the way, and who created Steam. And now he's creating EOS to be an Ethereum killer. And I reckon he's going to do it because, man, you just can't. Ethereum can't survive much longer with this level of choke happening. And it's going to be worse than Bitcoin was, last 6 months ago. Before they introduced SegWit. So, yeah, Bitcoin is number 4 on the list. Obviously, a very busy blockchain, but you can see now, whereas it was often pegged before, it's now only at 38.94%. So, you can see the difference that SegWit and Lightning now also coming online, but mostly SegWit at this point, because now Coinbase has adopted SegWit, and other big exchanges are adopting SegWit. SegWit has been adopted in the main line of the core wallet, so SegWit's really moving in and facilitating a lot more transactions on the Bitcoin network and lowering the Bitcoin fees. So that's good. It is good.
I'm still amazed at the difference between Steam and Bitcoin. And I see Bitcoin at 30, almost 39%, with what, 1/15th of the activity from Steam, and Steam isn't even at 1%.
That's right.
That's mind blowing. I'd love to see I'd love to see what Nano comes up on their numbers. It's
you look at BitShares too. BitShares, I think, is almost identical technology to Steam, and it's at 0.04%.
Yeah.
And it's it's just ridiculous. So. Yeah, Nano is not on this list because it's just not used that much yet, and this is just the top few currencies, top few token systems, platforms. Anyway, yeah, very interesting site. We'll check back to that periodically when interesting things happen there.
Pretty cool.
So, on to the topic number 2, our news segment. The first item today is the Durov brothers filed Telegram and TON with SEC, report 850 million already raised. Now this is the Telegram ICO. The Durov brothers, I believe, are the founders of Telegram. I'm not exactly sure, the people behind the company. TON is the token I believe that they're going to be launching. So we all know who the SEC is. So in this first story, Telegram creators Pavel and Nikolai Durov have filed a notice of exempt offering of securities with the U.S. SEC on February 13th, reporting 850 million raised under the SEC exemption rule from 81 investors for, quote, the development of the TON blockchain, the development and maintenance of Telegram Messenger. So, wow, that is mind-blowing. And it's going to get more mind-blowing in our second story, but 850 million already raised being reported here. So who's raised more than that?
EOS
has raised more. I'm not exact. I think at the moment they've raised about the same. I think EOS's ICO is still ongoing, but I think they've raised about that amount now. I think they're expecting overall when it finishes to raise over $1 billion EOS, but that's huge. Now, before we get too excited about that, let's move on to the next one. Anonymous sources, Telegram launches secret second pre-sale, another 850 million to be raised. So now we're at 1.7 billion, assuming they can do that. And this is a pre-sale, folks. This is not the ICO. So this is a bit scary to me. I don't know what they're planning on doing. Typically what happens with pre-sales is that the purchasers of the pre-sale get issued token as well. And and if that's the case, which I would definitely presume to be the case, we'll find out later, I reckon. But when this ICO happens, are they going to, how much are they going to raise in that? Are they going to raise another 800 million? Are they going to raise $1 billion? Even if they raise $1 billion, which might be conceivable, I'm a bit skeptical on that. But even if they do, that's not even equal to what they're anticipating to raise for their pre-sale. I find this very concerning because what happens in these pre-sales, and well, I support pre-sales, when they're more like 10% of the total ICO, because the pre-sale helps get the word out, it helps market the ICO, it helps raise money, and that's great. But what happens after the ICO is that all of those who got in on the pre-sale rush to the market and start selling, and all those who got in on the ICO get dumped on big time. I got to be honest, folks. I am not going to touch this ICO with a 10-foot pole. I don't encourage anyone to get involved with it until maybe a couple of years after it's over and done, and they've developed a token and it's stabilized, because this is asking for trouble in my book. I don't know. What are your thoughts, Mike?
Well, the thing that I've always liked is the ability for people to go and have some form of distribution or mining that's done that distributes the tokens in some, pre-formatted way. And the way this looks, it looks just like, a lot of the coins that are out there that are pre-mined. And it's just like, okay, well, it's kind of like with good example is the same thing as going to see a concert or a show or something, and all the people who are in the process to get tickets early, well, where are all the good seats? They're all gone already. Yeah. So the people who are the fans who want to go see the movie, go see the shows, don't get to, or they get lousy seats because all of them are already pre-sold. That's the same thing as this particular situation. It's like all the tokens on the pre-sale, if you're able to get in on it, you usually get a bonus or some form. And the question I would have is, if they do this and you've got $1.7 billion, if not more, invested prior to any public sale, that's like, okay, well, if I was going to see a concert, all the floor seats are already gone, and everything in the first half of the lower levels and the first half of the upper levels with good view, those are already bought up already.
Yeah, this is the opposite of decentralization. This is like the traditional stock market, where the insiders get all the total inside deals before the launch of the stock, before the IPO, and it's a total scam. That's why people are leaving the stock market in droves. That's why the little guy doesn't want to invest in the stock market anymore. They know they get screwed over time and time again. They're trying to bring over the same level of screw over that's in the stock market to the crypto market. And I got to say, I'm putting my foot down in a big way here. No, I'm not gonna support this kind of ICO at all. I'm gonna avoid it like the plague, and I'm gonna tell other people to avoid it like the plague. This is not cool.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, our next news item: BitMEX. Tether possibly has enough cash reserves, but could still be shut down. So I think this is a bit of a fluff. I don't know. This doesn't seem like serious research to me, but I'll just read through it a bit here. BitMEX Research released an in-depth report on Tether today, and that's linked here in the article. And the article itself will be linked in the show notes. Today was February 19th, detailing the reasons why Tether is most likely backed by sufficient fiat reserves after all. I think that would be great. I mean, Tether, I think, is a great resource for people, and I hope that it is backed. But yeah, I'm wondering what kind of solid proof they have here. So what problems? Let me back up. Tether is most likely backed by sufficient fiat reserves after all, and what problems with regulatory bodies Tether will most likely encounter in the future. Goes on to explain, Tether is a digital token backed by fiat currency, supposedly pegged 1-to-1 with the US dollar. Due to Tether's lack of enough publicly released bank audits, there are rumors and these rumors have been going on for a long time, folks. Rumors that Tether does not actually have enough fiat in reserves to redeem all Tether tokens with US dollars if the need would arise. The BitMEX report attempts to refute those rumors by showing a possible correlation between the rising cash reserves of the International Financial Entities IFE banking category in Puerto Rico under a section entitled, quote, "The lack of transparency may not indicate fraud." So, as I say, this is a bit of a fluff piece. This doesn't really seem very serious, like very serious research to me. They're referencing another document that references, some other nebulous information. So it's like a rumor of a rumor. Well, maybe it's true. Anyway, they're basically saying that they think that it's possible that Tether's cash reserves are stored in a Puerto Rican-based bank that is a full reserve bank, and because their reserves have been growing rapidly, they think that is due to more money being put into there to support and back Tether. So, I don't know, I thought it was an interesting article because if it's true, that's great, but at the same time, you got to watch out for stuff like this. There's a lot of fluff articles about like this, and this is like a counter rumor to the existing rumor. So be careful when you read stuff like this. It's interesting, but it's not factual. Okay, our next article, BitGrail versus Nano. Who is responsible for the $150 million theft? Now, I am a hodler of Nano, and BitGrail was one of the major exchanges that was selling Nano, and a huge amount of it was stolen, basically forcing the exchange to halt withdrawals, I believe. And now the BitGrail people were pointing fingers at Nano having a problem, and Nano's pointing the finger back at BitGrail. On February 8th, 2018, 15 million Ray blocks, the former native currency of the Nano network, were stolen from Italian cryptocurrency exchange BitGrail in order to provide insights into alleged security breach and the theft of more than 150 million US dollars worth of XRB, that's the Nano Ray blocks token. Cointelegraph conducted an exclusive interview with Francesco Ferrano, the founder and operator of BitGrail, and it was exclusive. It didn't talk to anybody else except him. So if you read that article, to keep that in mind. It's very one-sided. This time, Cointelegraph reached out to the Nano team and conducted an interview with Nanocore team's Troy Retzer, who oversees community and public relations at the organization, to better understand the large-scale theft. During the interview with Cointelegraph, Ferrano claimed that the Nanocore development team accused BitGrail of being insolvent and negligent in managing hundreds of millions of dollars worth of funds. Ferrano added that the issue originated from the timestamp technology of Nano, and that the block explorer of the cryptocurrency is not reliable. Well, Ferrano said, quote, "Baseless and malicious accusations are done by the Nano development team. The truth is their block explorer is dated January 19th, the date of the theft. Since Ray blocks have no timestamps on the chain, we cannot really find out when it actually happened, other than rely on the block explorer, which, as already shown by private conversation, they disclosed is totally unreliable." Well, code is code, right? So the people at BitGrail could have read the code. They could have understood the code and its limitations. So, I mean, my take, just right there with that particular accusation, is that it doesn't matter. BitGrail was really responsible here because it's, the code was the code when they adopted it, and it's not. It's a decentralized platform, isn't it? It's not like the Nano team deliberately wrote that code and obfuscated the facts from BitGrail so that, this sort of thing could happen. BitGrail had the opportunity to know this in advance, and if they'd done their due diligence, they should have known it in advance. So Troy Retzer, the Nano team guy, explained that on January 19th, the date noted by Ferrano, the Nano blockchain network conducted a resynchronization of its nodes, providing every block or transaction missing before January 19th with a timestamp recorded at the time. This meant that all transactions or blocks were recorded accurately with a timestamp on that date. So there's a quote there. I'm not going to go into that. You can read the article in detail if you want. In regards to Ferrano's comment that the Nano team has released malicious accusations against himself and the BitGrail trading platform, Retzer commented that the core team had not received any information from BitGrail and from Ferrano apart from the data he had released publicly. Quote, "It is difficult for us to help solve the situation due to a lack of information on the alleged attack," said Retzer, stating that BitGrail had failed to clarify basic details such as how many XRB tokens were actually stolen from the exchange. Initial reports from BitGrail suggested it was 17 million, but reports released later this month claimed 15 million were stolen. The Nano team also emphasized that it has reached out to the Italian police in order to cooperate in the investigation of the theft and provide any assistance it may need in analyzing the BitGrail breach. So I'm not going to go into too much detail. If you're a holder of Nano, particularly if you were using BitGrail and lost Nano, please read the article and judge for yourself what's going on here. I have my own opinions. I'm not going to state them. They may be clear, I don't know, but yeah, have a look and see for yourself. The next article, Robinhood's zero-fee Bitcoin Ethereum trading is live in 5 US states. Why this is important. There's exchanges coming online all the time, right? Robinhood is a stock trading platform that has a really large installed user base of stock traders. So they are now introducing crypto trading, now in 5 US states. That's just the beginning. I know, I've read on their, I believe they've got an Australian site or something related to Australia where they're talking about doing it over here too. So I believe they're working ultimately to go international. So this is just the beginning. And because they have an installed base of stock traders, I think that's a big deal. I mean, those stock traders have a lot of cash. They're trading in the stock markets. So presumably they will, be looking at this and thinking, oh, I can invest over here too now. So I think that's very interesting. The blending of all trading platforms, of trading of different types of commodities all into one is really interesting. Have any thoughts on that one, Mike?
I like the zero fees. I figure that once a truly decentralized exchange is up and running, zero fees probably could be cooked into the process. It's nice to see, somebody going zero fees on, on trades and stuff. The primary, thing that I'm concerned about is implications with, how things are going to be done tax-wise. So if you're going to go and try and evade the taxes, that's one thing. If you're trying to figure out how to go and pay what's appropriate, that's another. And, at least you're not having, pieces of your investment get shaved off every time you do a transaction. It will, however, go and create a very large number of transactions that need to be processed through, but that generates activity and in general creates a larger market for the trades to be done. So it'll be interesting to see how this turns out. Definitely on the news side, though.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. Our last story for the week is Petro ignited. Venezuela launches pre-sale of oil-backed national cryptocurrency. And I want to add to that, it's not part of this article, Maduro, the president of Venezuela, has also hinted very strongly that they're going to be doing another cryptocurrency that's backed by gold. Greed is greed, I guess. I will not be buying any of these. I just have no trust from a government that basically has shown they're willing to hyperinflate their currency. If they're willing to do that, how can I actually trust they're going to really back these coins with anything? I don't know. It seems really dubious to me. Doesn't seem like an honest government. He doesn't seem like an honest president. But I think it is newsworthy, and it's going to get I mean, this is the first real government that has done this. So, and they're looking at doing another one. And I hear there's some other countries in the pipeline here looking at this too. So this is going to be really interesting, folks, to see what happens if these coins get listed on CoinMarketCap and other countries start doing this. We could start to see more and more national currencies floating on CoinMarketCap. What do you think about that, Mike?
Well, as far as for that, that would be based on whether or not I trust the national governments that are supporting these particular things. And at the current time, the number of national governments that I would trust to actually do their cryptos that are backed by whatever widgets, fluff, Nutella, I don't care what it's backed by. The question would be is it backed by the actual stuff that they say it's backed by? And the number of nations that I believe that are capable of doing this in an honest and forthright manner, 0. There is not a single government on the face of this planet that I would trust to actually hold what they're saying they're backing it by. I don't trust governments. I trust man. I trust open source. And it's like I've gone and said over and over and over and over again. Somewhere in the cryptoverse, someone will be able to go and create, made safe, the crypto that is open source, decentralized, and anonymous. And all three of those have to be present. If they aren't, then shenanigans can happen. And once someone else, I don't trust the government to do it, because
what do you think about these backed currencies too? I mean, what is the point of backing a cryptocurrency? I mean, at that point, it's a derivative, isn't it? It's kind of a derivative.
Yeah, it is.
In a way.
It is. And the thing is that they've already done that. There was a company called eGold that was running and had essentially digital gold with reserves and stuff that already has been done. And
several of them have done it, I believe.
And it collapsed.
There's one on BitShares. There's a BitShares Gold one, and I think there's a silver on BitShares too. I mean, there's lots of places where you can buy this sort of thing. I don't know if there's an oil one yet. Well, I guess there is now, because that's what Venezuela's doing here. But
well, the way I go and I look at it is this: is that the laws that are in place in every country are designed to go and secure their monopoly. There isn't a single nation on the planet that has a competitive currency where they have competition in their own country for their own currencies. It doesn't exist. Every national currency is a monopoly. And
hasn't Japan now opened up? I could be wrong, but I think Japan has actually allowed Bitcoin to be legal tender. I could be wrong about that, but Japan seems to be the most open country in the world to crypto right now. But
and as far as for that, that's something that it's the same old. I mean, when it's all said and done, in the presence of legal tender laws, bad money chases out good. And in the absence of legal tender laws, good money chases out bad. And right now, there are quite a few different projects that I believe could step right in and take care of it. The thing that needs to be done, though, is to have the ability to get the particular cryptocurrency, and if you can transfer in and out of it with fiat, regardless of what country the fiat's from, if you can transfer into it and transfer out without any issues or problems, then that allows for people to go and have their choice of whether they want to use their national currency or whether they want to use the crypto. And at that point, then the question is are you able to go and pay your graft and theft, since taxation is theft in my mind, are you able to pay your theft in cryptocurrencies, or to where you don't have to go and convert out? Like in the United States, the state of Arizona has supposedly started taking Bitcoin for tax payments, pay your car tax, that sort of thing. And now, granted, it's not that the state of Arizona is accumulating crypto, or Bitcoin as the case may be. It's not that they're accumulating Bitcoin. They convert out of it immediately according to the information that I've read so far, which, cool that you're able to go and do that. But the question comes, if you have a nation that is so financially bankrupt, Zimbabwe comes to mind, Venezuela comes to mind, this could be their Hail Mary pass and hoping for the best possible solution. Now, they do have oil available, bad as it may be. Heavy sour oil and stuff isn't the world's greatest, but at least they have something. And if they had, somebody with a change of heart and the people of the nation got behind it, that could prove to be, a game changer. If the proliferation of backed currencies that are put out by the national governments starts to proliferate, it gets to be a very slick slope, and you're gaining speed like a luge, down that slippery slope. And the question comes in is, who do you trust? And the vast bulk of the people who are not in the crypto market space, they're basically the people who would trust the government more than math, even though math has been the same. So I don't know.
One thing about the Venezuela thing here, the oil backed one, I don't know, the gold one, I don't know what they're doing with yet, but I presume it'll be the same. But I believe they've done this on Ethereum. I believe that it is an ERC20 token, and as such, it's not their own blockchain where they can just create more coins, because once the contract is launched, it's launched. They can't change it at that point. So the contract on Ethereum specifies a finite number of coins, I believe. See, I should have done my research here. I'm pretty sure it would specify that. Let me just go down here. Ordered issue of 100 million petros with the value of a single barrel of oil each. So it sounds to me like they have a finite number of tokens. So even if it's not backed and his country, the people start using that token, then at least it is limited.
Yeah.
At least they've got a limited supply of this token to trade with. And that would be a huge advantage over what they've got with their national currency. However, they've also now got access to other crypto coins. So why would I even bother with it? As a Venezuelan, if I were a Venezuelan, why would I care about this? I can't really see it. But
what I would like to see, and this is something that Venezuela in their situation could be setting up a sneak play of sorts, in that they go and they put in their own coin that should track, if it's exactly what he says it is, then the value of that should track the same amount as the oil. How much does it sell for on the open market? For whatever kind of oil that they have that they're attaching to.
Yeah.
And it should track that value. It shouldn't be like, the Bitcoin or the Ethereum and have a highly volatile low. It's up 80%, it's down 30%, it's down 38% more, it's up 71% over the past week. It should track the same value as the barrel of oil that they would sell on the open market. And if that's what they are going to start using in the nation, then what it ends up doing is, over the course of a year or two, as the technology and the ability to accept the technology goes around all the merchants in the nation, that could transform Venezuela into the forefront nation for crypto very easily. Because if all the merchants all of a sudden have the ability to take not only the Petros but any other crypto, it's like, here's my QR code, bloop, bloop, done. And very easily it's like, we don't accept just the Petros, we accept Ethereums, we accept Dash, we accept all the other coins as well. And that's something that could transform the nation. Now, hopefully it comes off good for them. I'd like to see a nation really embrace the technology in such a manner that the people have the confidence in it to where, they're willing to go and have that be their monetary system. It could be very, very interesting. So I hope it works out for them. I agree. I'm not
We'll
going to
see what
touch it,
happens.
but
I agree. Yep. I think it's good that Venezuela's opening up more to crypto and they're not banning Bitcoin and stuff now. So I think that's a big step for them.
Yeah.
But they've already devastated their population, droves and droves. So thousands of people are leaving Venezuela and going to Colombia.
Yep.
People are raiding food trucks as they come into the cities. I mean, it's a mess. It's horrible because they've stripped people of all their money, and it happened so suddenly and so fast. Well, of all the value of their money, rather, and it happened so suddenly and so fast that they choked, and it's now chaos there. It's horrible. Of course, they'll all point and say, "Oh, that's anarchy in the streets," but no, that's not anarchy. That's the result of socialist government practices, folks, and it's happening in a lot of places, I reckon, coming soon to a government near you. So watch out for that. Invest in crypto. It can't be diluted.
I wish them well. Hopefully it'll work out for them. Hopefully it'll turn things around. My confidence level isn't very high, but I'll be keeping an eye on it because it definitely sounds something interesting for,
for
the
humanity,
future of crypto. Yep, for sure.
Our last topic, we're not going to be doing an ICO topic this week. We may change our format soon. I'm not sure if we're going to continue doing all of this all together. We're going to try and get the show a bit shorter in the future, folks. So our last topic this week is just the MadeSafe update. So I'm just going to go straight into that. The link to this week's update will be in the show notes. I'll go through the highlights as usual here. The marketing team has created a new topic and forum to start a discussion about how to support the various meetups that have appeared across the globe. That's good. We need more people getting together and starting to, I think, collectively market, MadeSafe and SafeNet when it moves to later stages and people can actually start using it. So the second one here, we are delighted to announce that we have filled the UI UX designer role. UI is user interface, UX user experience. So that's basically the interface for the system. So they filled that role. Jim Collinson will be joining the team, and our AIR headquarters. AIR is AIR Scotland, of course. Working on the C# bindings, or work on the C# bindings has been shaping up well. The auto-generated bindings are integrated with the work in progress code, and now the tests are passing on all platforms, the core, framework, Android, and iOS. That's the Apple OS. The routing team has been picking off tasks from Jira for milestone 1, tasks of data chains, and making reasonable progress. They're still very much in the realm of getting the raw building blocks coded and unit tested, but they'll soon be moving on to the more complex integration tests. They'll be integrating data chains into the routing, into the system. Data chains, of course, it's a system that backs up basically pointers to where data is stored, and it's used in case there's, it's basically like a big backup system for the whole of SafeNet. So it's a pretty massive undertaking when you just even begin to imagine how much data that is. It's pretty big, folks. So integrating that will be really important, but because if anything happens, say a country suffers a blackout or something, or say we get a solar flare that causes damaged infrastructure and shuts down a country's power system for a period of time. Data centers might still be up because they've got backup power, but a lot of data could be lost potentially. I would hope that our systems that humanity has developed over time, engineering-wise, I'm going off on a tangent, folks. Sorry. That we've developed over time would be good enough that we wouldn't ever have to get to a point where we'd lose information like this and have to rely on data chains. But and personally, I don't believe we will. But the fact that they're actually building data chains and put it in there really shows the dedication that MadeSafe has to building a really secure system. It's going to be almost bulletproof, folks. We'd have to have multiple asteroid impacts, I think, plus solar flares, plus an ice age probably to knock SafeNet down. That's my belief. So the last point, this week the Crust team made the final changes related to encryption. They're still going through the review process, but apart from that, everything seems to be functioning okay. So that's great. Good progress being made. There's more in the marketing system here. The meetups, the details here are on the page. I'm not going to go through the details. I think, you've heard what the highlights are. If you're interested in that, please check out the link in the show notes and check it out for yourself and read the details and dig in. This is the future, folks. I really believe that. This SafeNet is way beyond what EOS is doing. It's way beyond it, and it's a sleeping giant. People don't know, and the real problem for SafeNet isn't the technology and how long they've been taking it. Well, the length of time that it's taken them to build it is an issue, but it's an issue because other projects like EOS have gotten in there and they've gotten massive funding, and they're going to draw a lot of attention to themselves, and that pulls attention away from projects like SafeNet that are really ultimately way more powerful. SafeNet will do smart contracts just like better than these other players. It's going to allow for a lot more programming languages to be used. You can pretty much code your smart contract in just about any language on SafeNet. So it has so many advantages. That's a whole series of shows all to itself going through why it's so superior. But if you're listening to this for the first time, this show, and you're just hearing about SafeNet, I really strongly encourage you to check it out. These guys are the real deal. They've been working on this project since before Bitcoin even existed. So this is a long-term, huge project, and they've got very little funding relative to some of these other big projects, but they're getting closer and closer to release, and it's a big deal, folks. So that's all we have for this week. I'd like to thank both our viewers and my co-host for joining me today. We hope you found the episode informative and helpful. Please subscribe, like, comment, and share a video with others. Tune in next week for another interesting episode.
Have a good one, everybody.
Mike, for joining.
Oh, you bet.
Do, 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 do.